the Game Changers podcast.
It's a beautiful day, Zanzi. Remember, we are the people, we are the patient, and moreover, we are the Game Changers. Welcome to the Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, people known as the Prof, and I'm not alone. I'm with my co-host, and the rest of the team is here. We have Fifi's here, Melo is here, Mega is here, Shege is here, Melo is here, and Lerato is here, and we have it's a special edition podcast today. And before we go to our guest, to introduce himself, we will start by giving Lerato. Lerato, how are you?
Hi, hello. My most famous sound effect. Hello, guys. Today is a very special show. My name is Lerato, as usual. The lady, Hafula, the testosterone here today. Yes.
Le role is strong. So how are you feeling today?
I'm super excited. Super excited. Renali and all-star show today. Kidi alumni
Oh yeah. And I guess, I hear that there was something between the two, but I will hear from him. Stephen.
How are you?
How are you, Maji?
No, I'm good.
No, thanks for coming by.
Pleasure.
Normally what we do, we don't introduce people. We'd like people to introduce themselves so that they can be able to portray on how people want, on how you want to be known. Because sometimes we can code all of those things to the and stuff like that, and you didn't want to be coded like that or to be presented like that. So who are you and what are you doing? In anyhow you can explain to the Game Changers so that they can understand.
Stephen, I'm based in Sharpeville, in the Val. Grew up eKasi. Been doing so many things, youth development centers, to now finally being in business. But I describe myself as Kasi or eKasi. It's simple as that. Because happy
enthusiast.
I think happy there's a power in that. Yeah. There's a power in simplicity, because when you say eKasi, people don't know what to expect. Exactly. So therefore, whatever that can unfold from that can become a surprising thing. So if you know it, that's a good description for now.
So that's HipHop.
I'm eKasi and Stevie. I'm eKasi and that's how I describe myself.
Now, don't you find like how eKasi you kind of put yourself in a box?
No, not really. Because it kind of shows you're proud of where you come from. You embrace the things that made you the person that you are today. Because if you don't embrace it, you look like I find a baby, so I can't do that because I'm not from there. Yeah. So you tell your story so that people can understand how anything can be possible with anyone. So you get to relate to everyone in the same sense.
Doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah. So I feel there's more story to it. Not just it being a box.
You're bringing a strong point in terms of normally the upcoming generation and our generation as well. And especially 2Ks and stuff like that, and our generation inclusive. The only time we tend to shine is when we speak. We migrate from township and we go to the likes of Kwesta, Sentin. That's where we want to change accent. That's where we are exactly. And there's that notation that we have arrived. We have succeeded.
Just by being a part of that place.
And that's very powerful. So man, 2009 you were doing matric.
2009.
It is more than 10 years.
12 guys.
2009.
It's
13 years.
Can't be the current new parents.
Hey!
We are what we consider adults now.
We had our 10-year anniversary, 10-year reunion about 3 years back.
It was 3 years back.
We already had the reunion.
And coincidentally, all of us were doing matric by then.
We are the class of 2009.
Same school, man. And what I know, what I've known you for, apart from meeting you at sports when we were doing the inter-houses, your group was popular of hip-hop, especially local hip-hop, because it was not as exposed as it is today.
Yeah.
So people were asking mostly who's
I can't believe that. We used to even rap Berlin. You can't remember this guy, Kwesta.
Yes.
Kwesta used to be around.
Yeah.
People will never believe that.
How was the journey during those times?
I think it's what made me the person that I am today.
Yeah.
Mostly, especially the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
For me, I think, amongst other things, the knowledge that we have, pronunciation of words, articulation of sentences, everything was built by hip hop. Because our schools, we have to admit, because I used to be in a debating team, my school also. So we learned our teachers are kind of disadvantaged when it came to the language. So it was our own job to make sure that, because also then we were kids, so we wanted to fit in with the model C. So we kind of used hip hop to sharpen our language, to kind of learn about new vocabs, and it kind of broadened up a lot of things, because we got to see different cultures happen from different perspectives. Because we have underground hip hop, we have local hip hop, we have international hip hop. For now, I'm more leaning towards, especially Jay-Z. I think is one of the greatest rappers ever lived, because lyrically, the way he puts a song together, it's always about the story, but it's not the story on the first surface. When you listen to him the first time, when you listen to him the second time, you always discover something new. When you listen to him the third time, you discover something you missed the first and the second time. So I love the layers that comes with his music, how he's able to just put everything together and let you discover what is it that you're looking for.
The song that still hits me up until today from Jay-Z, what is it? It's a Hard Knock Life. That my man, it slaps. It shows you, And,
but also, speaking of layers, you are also a very layered man yourself. There's Stephen Hip-Hop, there's Stephen Entrepreneur, there's Stephen the eKasi boy. I mean,
I think for now, the reason why I've always been like that, I think I'm more about life. Like, I don't want to be put in one thing. I want to wake up and be a photographer and be happy with that. I want to wake up and be a trader and be happy with that. I want to wake up being a coder and a programmer and be okay with that. So I think me always jumping from one thing to another is always about learning, exploring, and discovering new things. Because we live in a very technological times now, when things are moving at a rapid speed, and so therefore we always have to try to catch up. So the best way to keep up with that is always exploring different things. So like for instance, now I'm still pushing. I'm kind of returning my online magazine. And with that, one of the key things that I've noticed was the market is now ready. Because when I started out, the market was not ready then, because we have what we call video on demand. Video on demand was very low at that particular time, because I started in around 2016. When I did my first podcast, at that time we did not call them podcasts. So therefore, I pioneered the first phase of the digital age. And during those times, I had a lot of lessons to learn, and they came at a cost, because everything was also expensive at that time. But God has always got me. So at that particular time, I was very blessed to have funders on board, to have people who were sponsoring the entire journey. I had people who were backing me up in every corner. So at that time, things were not as hard for me as it was for other entrepreneurs as well who were in the same space. Because again, the whole thing of exploring, because I started off BYDC, was a youth development center. When I started off there, the idea was I wanted to see how the professional working environment works. And then from there I discovered, okay, but the NGO space was not for me. I kind of leaned toward business. So I took the experience I learned from there and I applied it on business, which it actually worked. So with that, I moved from having to start off with just only production and having to do bookings, photo shoots, to say, I'm looking for something more innovative now. What is it that I can do? I'm seeing there's a bit of a market with online. Let me try to explore that. That's when I started exploring there. So the journey was a bit bumpy, because when I started, I did not have any funding, I did not have any money. you have to start from your own pocket. There, everything you start from scratch.
Yeah.
So it was a journey for about 3 to 4 years before I got my first funding. Because the first time you would apply, they would tell you don't have this, you don't have that, you go back, you rectify, you return, you try to do the same process over and over again. I think for me, it was very important because I've always believed in ownership. I wanted to have something that I can say is my own, and I loved media. So it was easy to combine the two to say, let me first start with something that's very much possible, which would be the magazine. Because at that time, for me, I always do a research for everything that I want to do. So at that time, the market was, I think it was about 12% of people who were using mobile devices who could get access to continuous data on a regular basis. So at that time, it was very low. So I was like, okay, no, cool. How about I start with something that's very light? That's how I came up with the idea of 3D, because I figured if I make the magazine to be 3D, it would be easier for people to page through pages and skim through the entire content. It would be about 30 pages, but it wouldn't cost you anything more than 10 megabytes. It would be easy to navigate, it would be easy to use. So I was looking at all of those things because I was in the market where people were still finding it very expensive to buy data. So it was that journey, building your own platform to now being able to now get funding.
So this is a magazine.
Yeah. No,
like we are talking about an online magazine, digital magazine.
How it actually unfolded. So when we started as a basic website, pushed for almost 2 years. And funny enough, during even those times, people were excited about anything online. So because I also managed to get good opportunities. I managed to partner with ETV, I managed to partner with SABC, and some of the big brands, and having J&B, the whiskey brands, to come on board fully to say that we're going to not just only give you money, but we're going to offer you an office space to work at. We're going to give you extra equipment from what you already have. So the support was really generous, to be quite honest. It was the only thing that happened was the unfortunate situation of COVID, which affected almost everyone. That's when everything came crashing down for me, especially. But happy, what I love about it is it came with changes. It came with a lot of good changes, especially for people in the online space. Because only then did we see now a rapid growth of people now demanding video content. We started seeing more people streaming content. We started seeing more people becoming, attuned to a lot of online technology. And now we can be able to say, okay, I can create an app like this and be able to set it quite easy even with us. Because back then you couldn't sell these products with us. It was a bit hard. So I think we're now in a space where the things are moving quite rapidly. So that's our opportunities. I feel like they're quite more now than they were before. And the market is ready to actually take the products to absorb everything.
And actually, when you check on YouTube, as a basis of what you are speaking about, like it was never, it never triggered in my mind that we'll reach whereby one episode can reach to 400,000 people.
So now
and sometimes consistently, weekly basis, and of which it was almost impossible around 2016. And by then we're using it was a mobile. It was not an Android.
I think we were still migrating from the BlackBerry.
Yes.
Now moving to the new, because we were so mad. Why did BlackBerry end everything? We were very pissed. I remember we were very pissed with the BIS situation.
I guess the BIS also offered the continuous
data. But the issue was it was also restricted on some networks, some networks were allowed to do other things. So, but I think that was the pickup time or the pickup stage where everything started to turn around, especially once it moved towards the COVID times. Everything changed. I feel we now can create, and it happened. The thing about it is the cost has drastically been reduced. Because to set up a production like this would cost you not anything less than $500,000. But now we're able to make prop setups. We're able to now use cheaper lighting systems and cameras and still be able to provide good quality content as well. I think that's one of the key things that kind of revolutionized the whole digital space now. So the cost is ridiculous. Almost everything is free. Come to think about it. The more I think about it, everything is free. It's next to free. Because you literally have no cost at all. Because I'm thinking the first app I built was like 30K. Today you don't even need to do that. You have apps, AIs.
You can do it yourself at home.
You understand? So I feel like laziness, man. has kind of gained in a very massive way. Because that's where we lack and lack, because information is there.
Yeah.
Everything is there, yeah.
And you're touching something that is important, because I was arguing with someone who did IT.
Yeah.
I said, okay, ma'am, I understand that you learn about JavaScript and stuff like that, HTML and stuff like that, but now you are competing with the AI, of which the work that you do will enforce you to cost your client more money or markup than when you do it with an AI. Because with an AI, the only money that I spend is data and for storage, for domains and storage as well. So studying things from scratch
is no longer necessary.
Exactly. So we have to balance between the two, and not to say now IT is useless.
No,
but to
it's
say,
not.
yeah.
I think IT right now has opened up. You know, you can enter IT from any direction. You can go through school. You can go through traditional schooling. You can go through online methods.
Yeah, like your YouTube, Udemy.
Exactly. Google even.
Yeah.
Because I feel with that one, okay, we're touching on a sensitive one.
Yeah.
But the traditional education system, I don't feel like it's working in this particular manner, because of everything is really outdated there, guys. We have to be honest.
Absolutely. That
and
is very
we're
true.
trying not to bash, because again, we cannot always keep accepting mediocre for the sake of just peace. To say, we're now jealous because we're now graduating and graduated. And yet I'm sitting here with no qualification, but I've never been unemployed. So can we talk about the reality of the traditional education system? Because half of the things that I've learned so far were actually out of traditional education system. And half of the things that I've learned there, I can't even apply even today. We're talking about not just only from high school, even higher institutions. For instance, in 2017, when we started to develop the app, we were looking for somebody who can design a 3D app for us. We couldn't find them. We went to Valtech, we went to Brock University. Most of curriculums there, they were only teaching about 2D. And I'm thinking, if I'm already trying to develop a product in 3D, why are we still getting students being taught in 2D?
You see, I think that is where the shortfall is with traditional institutions, because our education is still backwards. It's not as dynamic. It doesn't move as quickly with the times.
And it's going to be left behind, because the issue becomes companies are now opting for having their own courses. For instance, Google has their own courses now to say, hey guys, you don't have to go get qualification for the next 8 years. Come to us. We're going to do you 6 months and we're going to give you a job. Most companies are now doing that because they figured we can't deal with the whole backlog of universities of 15,000 students who are coming here with no experience, no clue how the job is done, and expect us to be highly paid. And on top of that, when is the cost of all of those things going to come?
And still be trained.
And still be trained on top of that. So you figure if you're going to have to train people, you might as well take them to a whole course because it's already coming at your cost anyway.
But the question arises, who's to blame?
I think for me, I would say everyone is, because our parents are not fighting for education of their own kids at schools to say this is what I want for my child. We are too relaxed with what the government is giving us because there are some things that we can fight for, not to bend streets because there's no lights today. Why can't we do the same for the education system? Because half of the time the battles that we usually put up a very big extreme war zone for are usually fights that don't need that. But the real serious fights that need that kind of type of message don't get the same response. So the issue becomes teachers are also too relaxed. Currently now I'm still training a couple of teachers from different schools, are only in the schools. But the issue becomes, I find it mind-boggling that I'm teaching teachers who've been teaching for the last 20 years and they don't even know the basics of computer. And the question becomes, we have smart boards at school. We have computer literacy at school. We have all these things. They're supposed to introduce now coding and you don't have the basics. And these are the people whom you put in charge of the kids who are supposed to live in a technological age. It's crazy to even think that's even a possibility. Because we're supposed to be refining things not just only from the ground basis. from the top to bottom.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that we don't just only blame the teachers, we equip the teachers, we equip the parents. The parents can also learn these things when they are at home. To say, okay, kids, you guys have an app on your phone which you can interact with your parent at home. The parents get to understand and learn about these things as well. To say, okay, no, we're seeing where the technology is going. So, my son, you don't need to go study marketing. How about you study coding? How about you study this? Because I'm seeing there's more jobs into this. Because, like he said, AI is taking over. I can do coding in less than 5 minutes while I'm still sitting here using ChatGPT. It's ridiculous to think, oh, you're still going to compete with some things like that.
But don't you think that mentality of encouraging kids to study something because of jobs are available, that is the one of the biggest problem that we have? Because mentioning the teachers, and I fully agree with you. For me, I think we now lack, we have 20% of passionate teachers, and we have 80% of teachers who just went there because there's a job is available, there's for the job security. So I think it's a problem that is holistic, but the reason why I asked who's to blame, I think the policymakers and the entire system of how our country is governed is the one that is misleading, is the one that is taking us back, because
we are told get a degree or get a job and live a better life,
and once you don't attend the university or the tertiary level institution, you're gonna get punished. Of why didn't you start there?
Absolutely.
You know, they're gonna decline even if you have a smart program or you have developed a smart app. They're gonna punish you because you didn't go through the traditional way of living. They're gonna punish you. They're not gonna give you funding. They're not going to assist you in anyhow. But I think privatization is very key, like your foreign brands like JNB, into not listening that much into how the system of South Africa is working, but to say we are searching for talent, nothing else but the talent. You know. So.
But you know what, Prof? There are companies currently who are looking for skills.
Yeah.
Just skills, not qualifications, not trainings, not experience, just skills.
Most companies are going in that direction.
Yeah, companies are going in that direction, and that is also one thing we also need to commend.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you, especially on the issue of most companies, most influence, it's from the company saying we need to study this. I think we still need to have that influence, but based on the market basis, not just randomly phalange, because that's where everything is going to be very faulted. It's a very basic 8 on what, because we have to know. Because for now, I already know how big the internet market is.
Yeah.
We have over 100. The first time when we started off at basics, especially 2018, it was still around 80 billion. And with a forecast of saying in the next 5 years it would grow to 180 billion. We're sitting on 140 now. So the forecast was very correct. So now I understand that the market has grown. It means more opportunities. That's why you see now Google is able to pay people now. So it means the market did actually grow. They did foresee some of the things changing and moving to online. So if we have like a solid research, our government needs those kind of type of departments. Because the issue becomes, if we're going to wait for policymakers, it's going to take us forever. Because the issue in policy work, it's built by the business community.
Yeah.
Governance, there is no such a thing called governance, because governance comes from the business community. We need to empower our people to get back into having our own Black Wall Street. We can finance our own education, we can finance our own development, we can finance our own sports, we can finance our own institutions. We can literally finance everything, because that's how basically everyone so far has been able to come into the space of winning more than the Black people.
Yeah, man. I have a lot to ask.
We need a part 2.
But unfortunately, we have run out of time, and we need to have a part 2. But we are no longer going to introduce him as a guest, but he's going to be a friend of the podcast, so that we have a continuous engagement, because there's a lot of time, or there's a lot of knowledge that he has to share with us. But before we can wrap it up, I would like to hear from our colleagues as well, Fifi, from behind the scenes of what is the if he has a question, and if she doesn't have a question for our guest. I don't know, you guys, do you have a question for Stephen, or should we pass?
Big up, man. Big up. Push.
All right. No, it's just a compliment. Larato, anything, last remarks before we can close it up?
I don't have a question, just
Yeah.
a comment to say Stephen has shown what resilience does, passion, hard work, and adapting. So I really commend you for that. Super awesome, very inspiring. I really think you have made it to be the friend of the podcast.
Yeah,
definitely.
Too much. We apologize, guys. It's unfortunate. You know our situation in South Africa. Load shedding. There's nothing that we can do. But we promise that part 2 will be back. And there's a lot, man. We need to touch on the markets. We need to touch on trading. We need to touch on the magazine because he only just skimmed through all of the things that he did. Because I also needed to know what did he learn through the NPO, because there was a time when I met him on the street and he was excited about the, what is it? PhD. We built it when we went to the training. It was a PhD bulletin. Yeah. I wanted to know about that experience as well.
There was a time I got into the taxi with him and he was talking about a huge funding he just received.
Exactly.
I also wanted to talk about that.
And also the JMB funding, because
how did it come about?
Because I learned that you're also working with OPA by then. So there's an interesting view coming from him that I wanted to ask you.
He's coming back.
So there's a lot that we need to cover.
He's definitely coming back.
This was just an intro.
Yeah.
We were just warming the seat up to say, we have 15 minutes, let's warm it up so that when the discussions finally get in deep on those personal matters, we know where it is.
Yeah, man. So, man, before we close, what's your message to all the youth and the game changers out there?
Stop being lazy. Everything is fine. Stop being lazy. Like, stop it. There's no excuse now. You can literally Google anything. You can YouTube anything, any skill. Like, guys, stop being lazy. That's it.
We heard.
Stop being lazy.
Our game changers are changing the game. Are not going to be lazy.
But on the road, though, everything, guys, it's really in the tip of our hands.
Yeah.
Let's take the opportunities and let's stop being lazy. Stop making excuses. We are better than the previous generations. We have better access to many things than previous generations. So let's take the advantage and stop being lazy.
That's profound, man. Larato?
It's a thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for all that you do, all that you have said, and for being here today.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Game Changers Podcast, or the GC Podcast, or Game Changers Evolution. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel and like our content, as well as share the Game Changers or the Game Changers Evolution or the GC Podcast. Also on Instagram, as well as the TikTok. Guys, I think Stephen have said a mouthful, even though it's just an introduction, but at least we have learned something from him, and we have to take some of his words and try to put it into practice and see whether we can be able to progress a little bit and check if we can improve ourselves. And yeah, that's it, guys. I'm your host, popularly known as the Prof. I'm the cycle breaker, and I'm starting to become a remarkable personage. I thank you all. Bye-bye.